Everyone knows he's a great basketball player, but he's a great kid too, a great young man. And because he's got such great character and he works his butt off, and he's really a good leader too, even as a freshman.
Do I think Tim could be that guy? Yeah. I think Tim's going to be that guy.
I'm glad he's here because he's a pretty special player.
Yeah. So growing up in Brazil, I lived in a little town called Campinas, and my mom and dad met in Brazil. Growing up, my dad coached a team, so I always used to play up a level because just being around basketball so much, it was a little better than everybody else, and it was always fun playing against bigger guys. And back then, I wasn't the biggest guy, but it was very interesting. But growing up, I played a lot of pickup ball, and I did play for a team once, but I had to travel far away to play there, so I played there for like 2 months, and we kind of gave up. I played, had a little fun, but it really wasn't my deal. And my dad told me that, you didn't really need to play to get better, so I always practiced. And we had a little team of guys, of older guys that would always play, and my dad would coach them. And so that's kind of how I grew up and got better every day. I always practiced on my own every day, and then also I tried to play with older guys so that would make me better. And back then I wasn't too tall. So I have 2 sisters, a brother, and then a little sister. We all used to play basketball together. My dad, we would always be practicing together as a family. We played a lot. We would divide the teams up, and I would always be against my dad to make it kind of even though he could dominate every time back then. But yeah, it got way too chippy. Yeah, he took a couple pictures of me while he was dunking on me most of the time, so it was interesting. But he never wanted to play me after my sophomore year. Yeah, we never played again one-on-one. It was either his knees or we didn't have time to play against each other or his ego didn't want to get hurt. So, just my last 2 years of high school, I moved to Bellingham, Washington, and I went to school there. I lived with my grandparents, and I played basketball and went to a public high school up there where
Mount Baker.
Yeah, where my mom graduated, my grandpa. So a lot of history from that school. So the season came along and I started playing, and it wasn't the best. I wasn't the best at the first part. I was a little rusty and trying to get used to the refs and just playing in a closed setting.
Do you foul out a lot?
I did foul out a lot, yes.
Yeah.
Mainly because I was the bigger guy on the court, and so sometimes the refs like to help the little guys, just because they feel like, I don't know, but most of the time, let's say 25% of the time I did foul out, yeah. My parents are so intertwined in the basketball world, they knew a lot of people. So they told a couple people that I was coming and to stay, and I got a couple phone calls, and a couple coaches came to watch me, and they were like, wow, he's got a lot of talent, but let's see what he has to bring it on the court, Got a couple more D1 offers. Well, I took a visit to the University of Montana and also to the University of UC Davis, and the next week after that I was going to go to UC Irvine. But during that midweek, I kind of had a feeling that I wanted to go to Masters and not to any of the other schools because they're not focused on the things that we focus here on, which is following the Lord and playing for His glory.
So Tim, Coach Sugarman recruited you, but was let go after you had committed to Masters. What ran through your mind when you heard the news?
I remember I got done with practice one Saturday morning. We were going to play that afternoon, so we got in the gym to get some shots, and I was in my car, and he gave me a call, and he told me that they didn't re-sign his contract, and he wasn't going to be able to come back next year, and kind of started crying, because honestly, you make a big commitment like that, and something like that happens, you don't really know what's going on. But it was all in God's plan. Talked to my dad right after that, and my dad told me to pray and ask for God's wisdom, and After that, I decided I didn't want to reopen my commitment because I wanted to come to Masters. And sometimes people come up to me and like, well, you had D1 offers, and why didn't you practice more and get a better D1 offer, or go to one of those D1 schools, because I mean they are D1, and you could say they're better than here, but that wasn't the most important to me. Of course, I'm a competitor and I want to compete at the highest level, but competing for reasons that I don't believe in wasn't really appealing to me. So I thought that through and decided to come to the university.
Well, obviously I wanted him to be here. He's a special player. And I think Tim's family really wanted to be here regardless. They're believers in the school, what the school stands for. Obviously basketball's a huge part of that for him. He has a future in basketball. So I think the family was committed to Masters pretty much regardless, is my understanding. At least I think it was.
Coming from the high school game to college, I think it's a lot faster. In high school, you can kind of take your time and make your move just because everybody's kind of slow. In college, you got to be quick.
So I think it took him some time to adjust. The biggest thing for him has been the foul stuff with the officials, just trying to learn how to control his body and not come down on people and stay straight up instead of reaching in and getting easy fouls. And once he can play with freedom and not have foul trouble, he's a different player.
I can't think of what game it was, but it was a home game, probably like 10 or 12 games ago, when something just switched and he had like 15 points and 12 rebounds or something like that, and just dominated. Like nobody could stop him. We're like, Tim, just do this all the time. And he hasn't really stopped doing it, so whatever he's doing is working. Yeah, I can't remember what game it was, but that was like the main turning point.
Just from the beginning, I think the whole mentality of just playing is what I used to have at the beginning of the year. And now instead, now I have like I need to go get this rebound, or I have to get this stop, or I have to block this shot, or I can't let this guy get this offensive rebound. And I think I've just been more aggressive in what I've been doing the last couple games.
Style-wise, I don't know, he's gotten a lot better this year. Like he was pretty soft at the start of the year, but he's got like really good finishing around the basket. He's got like a really smooth style of play. I don't know, it's unique. He's big, but he's like really skilled still.
But like I said before, he's got a great future because I know he's going to work. He's going to get stronger, he's going to get faster, he's going to get more accustomed to the game, he's going to start shooting it even better. And again, his leadership skills are just great, the way he leads by example. So he's loved by all his teammates, which makes it easy to lead.
He's a little kid. He's a really big little kid. He's really excited about like being here. When we were recruiting him, he like went to some big school for a visit, and we heard that they took him to a party. And right when we heard that, we were like, oh, we got him, because that's just like not who he is. There's nothing stopping Tim from being an All-American the next couple of years.